is your City Council Roundup, a recap of what's happening at City Hall with John Ongaro. The views expressed in this program are solely of those of the host and not necessarily those of the radio station or its partners.
Well, it was a good start to the meeting last night, and it wrapped up around 8 o'clock. That's about it. No, there's a little
done, and that's it. See you later.
I'm going to go backwards.
All right.
I'm going to start today with a beautiful tribute that Mayor Ken Boshkoff did at the beginning of the City Council portion of the meeting last night, honoring longtime Mayor Jack Masters. You know, Mr. Masters, Mayor Masters, was the first mayor to be elected the mayor without holding a council seat. Well, it gives a lot of people some hope, doesn't it? He was a wonderful man, and I had the opportunity to meet him a number of times, and he was always so gracious and so kind, and always was very, very funny. But Mayor Boshkoff's tribute to him last night made the mayor emotional because the two of them had worked together for so long and had been friends for so long. Mayor Masters was a great mayor for our community, and he will be missed. And so a great tribute to start off to close out the night last night. Also last night, you know, when you get a bunch of council members together that haven't really fought about anything for a while, you take half of them and then you re-elect the other half and you bring in some new people. Why not bring back old things like the red light cameras? This died in 2021 for a reason, because it cost a pile of money. Yesterday, Councillor Cicino brought back the red light camera idea and asked administration to put together a report because, well, he found a company that does it for free. There is no such thing as free.
I was about to say that.
There is no such thing as free. And there's no such thing as a free lunch. There's no such thing as free. But the company that he found will do this completely for free. That includes installing cameras, doing all the ticketing, providing all the staff, and they'll just bill the city for their portion, which will come out of the fines. So technically, the city will just print money. Well, that's not how it works either, because those fines, of course, go to the provincial government. So figuring that part out is another challenge. But council decided yesterday, let's give administration something else to do because they don't have enough. So in October, we'll come back with another report from administration looking at options for red light cameras, because we had to have a conversation as councillors who are now experts on traffic laws and making sure that people drive safely, talking about how terrible Thunder Bay drivers are, etc., etc., etc. These are things we don't need to know, and these are also things that you really shouldn't be talking about, because how we drive and how poorly Thunder Bay drivers are is really not the issue. The issue is somebody sees dollar signs, and we're not getting much of it. So let's settle down a little bit on the red light cameras. Yes, we have some terrible drivers. Yes, yesterday I watched somebody go through the intersection of Memorial Avenue and Harbor Expressway, and that light was long red. Thankfully, nobody got hit. Yes, it happens. Red light cameras are not going to make people smarter, period. But it's something else for administration to work on.
The city wants to pay me like afternoons. My afternoons are free. I could just put my iPhone and just put me at an intersection if you want.
I thought of that. Give me a lawn chair. I'll take care of it, especially after I'm retired. Also last night, the city water report came back. The impact of the financial plan from 2023 to 2042. Wow. Drinking water is obviously a very important thing. And yes, it costs a lot of money. But our costs for water is not as high as you might think. Yes, we pay a bunch, but we're doing our best to have the cleanest water in the world. We really do. There was a great discussion about the investments that the city is going to make in water treatment, and the capital investment of $394 million from 2023 to 2042, which will require a debt of $116 million. Wait a minute, a debt of 100? Don't worry about it. This is rate-supported money. So it really doesn't cost us that much. It turns out that $61 million of debt with water right now works out to about 20% of the city's total debt. But we collect money every single month for water. And so this long-range plan will make sure that we're good well into the future. All right, next. Remember that time we had the long, drawn-out discussion about spending money on renovating the Wayland Building and City Hall and all of the things that we need to do, and we don't need shiny things, and we don't need to renovate offices that cost $1 million? Well, guess what we approved last night? Yep, renovations of about $1 million, $967,280, excluding HST, for HVAC renovations and more for the Wayland Building and City Hall. The contingency, $96,000 in case we go over, and $280,000 of that will come from the Capital and General Reserve Fund. This is to upgrade the HVAC and do other renovations in the buildings and make way for moving departments around. Don't worry, this is part of the budget, and this was part of a long discussion a couple of months ago about whether or not we should be spending this money on these older buildings, and council passed that last night. All right, finally, the beginning of the meeting started with an announcement, and this segment starts with a disclaimer. That says that the opinions expressed are just mine and not necessarily the radio stations or our partners. It's important to say that because every single time we do a council roundup, there is somebody who sends me an email, or we like to call it hate mail, about my love for and or my support of city administration. You have to understand that city administration only does what council tells them to do. City Manager Norm Gale is an employee of City Council, period. He does what he's told to do. And last night, Norm Gale announced his retirement. 8 years as city manager, the longest running city manager that we've had. And if you think back to Thunder Bay history, we've had some bad ones. We've also had some very controversial ones that ended up in lawsuits and all kinds of trouble. Norm Gale, he hasn't gotten himself in any kind of trouble, but doesn't have a whole lot of support by some. Here's my thoughts on it. This city manager has taken us through a lot, including a pandemic, floods, all kinds of other issues, and had to be the guy that kind of put together the plan for an enormous staff and reported to council every single time with grace and class and dignity. He's done a lot. Whether you agree or not with his tactics or how he speaks to council, the end of the day, he does a very good job of reminding us and council every single meeting that he does what he's told, and he has done that. I have had all kinds of troubles with the fact that administration, who is made up of experts in their field, way smarter than you and I, Danny, that come up with plans and ideas and engineering that then bring ideas to city council, and city council, who knows best sometimes, says no to them. Also, this is the same administration led by Mr. Gale who brings ideas to council to say, we don't think this is a good idea, we don't think it's a good idea right now, or we can't afford it, and council says yes anyway. This guy has been at the helm for 8 years. He's done a lot. And there is no denying that 40 years of public service is something to be thankful for. His hard work and dedication to not only preparing council and preparing administration for discussions that are difficult, especially during budget time, especially with his warnings countless times over 8 years, you better be careful. And administration brings to the table the reasons why, and council has said no and overspent on budgets and put through things and cuts that he was told to make, and they didn't push it through. But at the end of the day, he did his job. He brought the information to council every single week the way that he was supposed to, the way he was asked to. And again, he did so with grace and class. Whether or not his ideas or the ideas administration were accepted by council doesn't matter. He did his job. Mr. Gale, thank you for your service. 40 years of public service is a very long time. You have earned your time, my friend. Please go and enjoy retirement. And as I mentioned to him last night, there is plenty of room for you here on Tuesday mornings to join me for City Council Roundup, because I guarantee you he's got some stories.
A pretty amazing perspective for sure.
So administration now will be looking for a new head. Now, is this the best time to be changing the guard in administration? My gut tells me no. Mr. Gale's personal preference of when he retires, the end of June, by the way. Last meeting will be at the end of June, and he'll be finished at the end of June. But who takes over? And who takes over at a time where there is a pile of infrastructure that needs to be decided upon, a ton of money that is getting thrown around on things that we may or may not need, or things that you may or may not agree with? Who's going to be in charge of this? Mr. Gale has done so with great dignity. Now, the person that fills his shoes has a monumental task to manage this council. And we have seen, since this council began, a lot of close votes, a lot of disagreements, not a lot of teamwork at all. And this will be the task of the new city manager to get these people together and to get them to work together. The mayor can only do so much. It's up to council now to decide whether or not they're going to support the new city manager as much as they had supported Mr. Gale. It is a very interesting time for this to be happening. Thank God Mr. Gale will be there through the budget process in the coming weeks.
Well said, John. Way to go. Longest serving city manager in Thunder Bay history, Norm Gale, and much respect to him. And I saw that part last night when he announced that he was retiring. And when he gave the time frame, June, I got to say I was a little bit shocked because, listen, he's going to go through the whole budget process.
Well, he has to manage it.
Right? And I get that.
That's his job, right?
Yeah.
And so good on him for not pulling the plug now. I suppose he could. But to get us through the next couple of months, think of the things that are coming in the next couple of months. Not only the budget, but that good old turf facility is going to pop its head again.
Yeah.
The designated truck route we know is coming again.
Gosh, that's been so quiet.
There is all kinds of things that are coming that he's going to stick it out for, and I can't thank him enough for his service. And whether or not you agree with his tactics or agree with him, you can't deny that level of public service is commendable.
The times that I've tuned into council, and listen, full transparency, it hasn't been as what you do, but anytime he was posed a question, he answered it with class, respect.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that I got from him. I had a chance to meet him on, I think, 4 or 5 occasions, sometimes in the studio and whatnot. Just a really nice guy all around. So I wish him all the best. And listen, it's a lot of work, 40 years in public service, as you said, 8 years as city manager. And you know what? June comes around. Take time for yourself. It's a big responsibility. And the other thing, too, is I've run into a lot of people, John, that say, oh, Norm Gale, wow, city manager, he gets paid a lot. Yeah, but that's not a Monday to Friday 9 to 5 gig.
No.
That's 7 days a week. Always things are on your mind. You're dealing with so much. So much respect to him.
Yeah, that's the common denominator, right? Is that, we're so top heavy with administration. We spend, okay, sure.
That's a big responsibility.
So find me some people who will do it for cheaper, because what they do is monumental work, as Mr. Gale has said, Herculean at times, the amount of work that they do. In the meantime, on a personal note, Norm's bagpipes are sitting on a nice rack at the back of his office, his beautifully decorated office.
Nice.
Norm, I know you're listening. I am looking forward for the next time that you're practicing to give us a call, and please come in and play the bagpipes for us. Not when you're the city manager, after, because then we can have more fun with you when you're not.
I remember. Did that not happen a couple years ago?
Oh,
here?
I tried to get him to play.
Close,
he wouldn't.
wasn't
No,
it?
he wouldn't. He's not ready. He's just practicing. But now with his retirement, he's got plenty of time. You'll be seeing him in a kilt in no time.
Well, way to go. Well, John, thank you for your insight on this. We appreciate it. And that's your Tuesday morning City Council Roundup. That was a lot last night. But again, Norm Gale, definitely. We've got a full update, by the way, on 999thebay.ca. And your Council Roundup you'll be able to find on our website later this morning. All right?
And on our new fancy Facebook page, too.
Yes, go check it out.
It's coming up.